Are you ready?
Yep.
Oh, John.
Hey.
Politics are stressing me out, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They're stressing me out. And also, but the opposite of that is watching Super Smash Bros. Videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
those two things kind of keep
all
you balanced.
around, if you take into account all of my recent media consumption,
Sure.
about zeroes out.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I forgot one sort of media consumption.
Oh, what's that?
That's listening to The Way of Kings
Wow,
on audiobook.
Is the greatest intro we've had to this podcast
And when
so
you
far.
when
Great job.
when you bring that into the equation,
Yeah.
when you just factor that into the
Net
mixeroony.
positive.
Yeah, bro. Oh,
You're
on
living
cloud
large.
6 or 7. Not quite 9, because I do want you to remember the politics thing.
I've never thought about just like rating your life on a scale from 1 to 9 in terms of
Based
clouds,
on which
but I like that a
cloud.
lot. I'm gonna start saying that. That's good.
All right,
I'm on like cloud. I don't know. Yeah, 7 seems
Hey,
fine.
shut up.
Sorry.
My dad started listening to the podcast.
Oh, great.
And he said, Sam, I had some feedback.
Okay.
But then you addressed it. He said it was about, for the first episode, I feel like we just summarized it too much.
Oh, sure.
But then the very next episode, we were like, okay, let's just speed through the summary and just get on to the actual discussion. And he liked that.
Okay.
So
solid.
Overall, no real feedback.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Dad.
Perfect podcast.
I'm kidding, Dad. Thanks.
And with that, our viewer is now gone.
Oh,
Sorry,
no, our
Mr.
one
Williams.
viewer, my dad. All right. So let's
And
get
Connor.
right into it. We listened to chapters, or read, in the case of some people.
Some people.
Chapters 16 through 22, our longest reading yet.
It was a big boy.
I thought it was pretty good. However, I think my notes for this one are actually shorter than my notes for the
Yeah, I
last
think I'm kind of in the same boat. Mostly because I did not heed your advice from last time, and due to events occurring this week, read half of it last night and the other half mere moments ago. So.
Okay, well, you did split it up over 2 days. That was...
Yeah, I suppose that did heed your
exactly
advice a little bit.
I meant, but
No.
Hey, all right.
Okay.
So we started out 7.5 years ago.
Yes.
We're back in a flashback. Another one of,
Right.
He's called Cal now because it's the past.
Yep.
And he's got a childhood sweetheart who's a light eyes, and he doesn't quite know how to feel. He's got a whole mix of emotions.
Like,
he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's trying to make this girl happy. He wants to make his dad happy. He wants to be a soldier. Right. He's all over the place, just like a teenager.
Right.
Yeah. So that made a lot of sense. Well, no, that's more of a discussion thing.
And when he's gloomy, Tien makes him feel a little bit better, you know.
Yeah, his brother makes him feel better. He goes and he fights a boy with a stick, and he's like, "Oh, what a rush!" But then he, whatever.
Then
all right. Hey, we more or less summarized that one. Great work.
Okay. Cool. Next one is we're back to modern day Kaladin, right? And he's trying to get the people on his side. Sorry, I just read the other chapters and it's all blended together.
Even for me, it's all kind of mixed together. Okay, so we're back to him. They do a bridge run, right? And he actually manages to keep alive almost all of his bridge.
Yeah.
This is like the first time ever that Bridge Force had the least casualties.
Yeah.
At only 5, I'm pretty sure. 5 dead, 3 wounded.
Right. Yeah, I think that's
not so shabby at all. So great job.
And it was like all the dudes in the front died except for Kaladin.
Except for Kaladin.
So that's kind of to be expected.
And he went and he bought some medicine, or maybe that was a bit later. I don't remember.
Yeah, he bought some bandages, but he didn't buy any of the antiseptic or anything. But he did talk to them.
Then we're with Adolin.
Yep. Which I have started calling him in my mind now, so we can agree on that.
Dog. And he got that straddle girth checked from last time.
Yep.
And it turns out that it was sabotaged. Or wait.
Or was it?
Was it? Yeah, because it sounds like...
It was definitely cut, but was it by a person or just did a buckle hit it?
Yeah, due to negligence. Yeah. Was it stored incorrectly?
Right. Not upkept or whatever.
So that's kind of up in the air.
Yep.
And then what? And then I think we're on to...
pretty much it, yeah. And now we're in what I just now read.
Dalinar's vision.
Yeah, which was crazy.
Holy
way
moly.
in the past.
So it turns out that Dalinar isn't just having these weird seizures.
Right. He is
living. He is doing the Quantum Leap show featuring Dr. Samuel Beckett.
Right.
Which is, by the way, who I was named after.
Yeah.
So my parents told me many years ago.
Right. What if your first name was Beckett? That would have been way cooler.
That would have been...
We'd call you Beck.
Similarly cool. I do like 90s rock band Beck.
All right.
Beck is pretty good.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Samuel's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, thanks for calling my name fine, John.
Your name is okay.
So he has a vision where he goes way back in time, and I reference Quantum Leap because in that show your main character is a guy who goes back, and he's not just traveling through time, he's becoming a person who lived in that time. So he's like suddenly, that person was living and living and living, and now he's them, and he has all their relationships and everything. And
Okay, cool.
He has to stop something from happening.
You've mentioned that show a bunch, given that it is your namesake, but I never actually knew what it was about.
I've hardly watched it. I don't think I was even able to finish the first episode because I thought it was boring.
Oh,
but
bummer.
Yeah. All right.
So anyway, he's living through somebody else's memory from way, 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 way in the past.
Yeah, they're describing like the year to him.
He's like the 8th epoch. And he's
eighth
like, what does that mean?
337, and he's like, what in the world?
Yeah.
But it's definitely before the last desolation.
Right, and that's the key thing, yeah.
And that was a long time ago, so it's a long time ago.
He's fighting these creepy black creature things. He's like, are these Voidbringers? And then somebody falls from the sky, and it's probably a Night Radiant, and they're like, these aren't Voidbringers, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's either the Heralds or the Radiants. I think we might have even gotten confirmation
they did say they were the Radiants.
Yeah, so these Radiants come down, and he's like really concerned about their helmets. And then his vision ends with him getting this like message from some mysterious force. Maybe it's the Almighty, maybe it's...
yeah. And it happens in all of the visions, and it sounds vaguely familiar. And it's always saying some stuff to him.
And this time it told him to trust Sadius.
And that was like the only concrete thing it's ever told him.
Among other non-answers,
yeah. Exactly.
And then there's a really short chapter that in audiobook form was under 6 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
Where Kaladin tries to save a little girl, but he can't do it. This is back in the past.
Yeah.
He's having a flashback.
Right.
And
Liren's like, hey, part of the job, bud.
Hey, yep, you'll eventually grow calluses and stop caring when people die. And Kaladin's like, that doesn't sound
that
cool.
seems like a bad thing. Yeah.
I don't know if I want that.
Yep. And then we're back to the bridge crew again in regular times.
And Kaladin's freaking making some friends.
Starting to work out a little bit.
Oh wait, no. First we see the part where Dalinar wants to become the High Prince of War. That was another chapter in between those two.
Yep.
And and that's a whole. What is that? Well, we'll get to it. And then we see Kaladin. Kaladin's actually finally making some friends. Teft and Rock are willing to work with him.
Right.
It's very cool. Okay. Now let's do some discussions.
Didn't we go through 22?
What? Did I not include 22?
Because I listened back to our other one, and I'm pretty sure we went through 22.
No, we were supposed to go through 22.
Oh, okay, cool.
We definitely were supposed to go through 22.
You just don't have notes on it?
Maybe I do. Wait.
Okay.
No, I do. Okay.
Right, cool.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so in that
I just didn't take many notes. Navani came back.
Yep.
Dalinar was running
There's a
away
feast
from
going
her.
on.
Dalinar has hots for his brother's widow, who is also, like, conventionally speaking, his sister.
Right, but he does feel bad about it.
Yeah, he feels bad about it. He's got the hots for her. So we're about to see a sick incest scene. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God.
Please, I'll cut that. I'm not going to cut it.
Your father's watching this.
I'm not going to cut it, but everyone can know that I regret it. Okay? That's just as good.
Yeah, that's fine. And Sadius is now the High Prince of Information.
Oh, jeez.
Boy.
Which Dalinar sound, he thinks that's a bad idea. Navani thinks it's a bad idea.
And we'll talk about that.
All right.
Back to the beginning.
So
first, before we discuss things.
A very good place to start.
Okay. There's at the beginning of the first chapter we read, there are the codes. They're just listed out in one of the fun little pre-chapter
hot
dealios.
dog.
Yeah.
Well, read me the codes.
Let me find them.
All of them?
Well, I don't know if it's all of them, but it's a few of them. I gotta find it here. You can say things in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah, I'll start by talking about Laurel. Let's rate her as a character.
Okay.
2.
Yeah. Like
she
3, maybe.
She wants Kaladin to be some knight in shining armor. She wants him to go off and win a Shardblade so he can become a Light Eyes. And by the way, remember when we commented earlier on Zeth's son Villano pulling out his Shardblade and his eyes would suddenly become like actually light, they would glow sapphire.
Right.
And now apparently it's common knowledge that when you win a Shardblade, you become a Light Eyes.
Yeah.
So maybe you just temporarily become a Light Eyes when you're actually holding your Shardblade.
Right.
Or
forever? Who knows?
I don't know. Maybe Zeth. Maybe it's like some weird mechanic specifically with winning a Shardblade. Maybe there's more to that than we know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
And that's why Zeth isn't always Light Eye. I don't know.
Whatever.
Whatever. Either way, it sounds like Laurel believes that if Kaladin goes out and wins a Shardblade, he'll become a Light Eyes, and then they can date and get married.
And it'll be all hunky-dory.
And Laurel wants that. And Kaladin doesn't know what he wants, but he does know that he doesn't like disappointing this girl.
All right.
And he's a lame-ass surgeon when he could be a
dope
as
hot warrior
soldier.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, here's some codes for you. Alethi codes of war. Readiness, the officer will be prepared at all times for battle, never drunken on wine, and never without his weapon.
That makes sense.
Inspiration, the officer will wear his uniform when in public to look ready for war and to give strength to his troops.
That makes sense.
Restraint, the officer will refrain from needless duels, arguments, or squabbles with other officers in camp to prevent injury to men who may be needed to command. Leadership, the officer will require no action of his soldiers that he would not be willing to perform himself. And finally, honor, the officer will not abandon allies on the field, nor will he seek to profit from the loss of his allies.
They all make sense.
All very fancy.
They all make sense. Follow the codes, guys. Dalinar knows
Yeah.
what's up. Gavilar knew what was up.
They sound pretty good.
Why aren't we following the codes?
Right. Yeah. Codes don't seem that big a deal, but Alethi culture is weird.
Yeah. Also, there was a little bit about Painspren feeding on Cal's agony.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, do they actually feed
Right,
on it?
yeah.
Or is that like a metaphor? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Spren are weird.
That's honestly like all I have to say about that first chapter.
Okay, let's see what I got. There's like, in the water is where creme comes from or something, or at least there's creme in the water that he's drinking in this chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And it like settles at the bottom and they take it out and make pottery out of it. And it's mentioned a bunch. It's like clay, it sounds like.
Well,
Because they
know
mentioned
what
a bunch of
creme
other
is.
things.
Do you want to know?
Yeah, sure.
It's a spoiler, John. It's
Okay.
dark, deep, scary. I think it's literally poop.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure. There's a subreddit called Creme Posting. Which
I never understood, yeah.
Which is like S-word posting.
Ooh, close one.
You know how I almost cursed.
Yeah, I knew it was called creme posting, and I was like, wonder what creme is, but that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Anything else from that one for you?
Let's see. They just again mentioned fighting for the heralds for the Tranquilin Halls. And yeah, and then Kaladin is like, he loved being in the fight, but then he hurts the dude, and he's like, oh god, I hurt somebody.
Can I hurt somebody? Yeah.
And
Am I the type of person who saves people or the type of person who kills people?
Right, that was like rushing through his head the whole time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got.
Also, Laurel said, this is the Stormlands, right? Which like is a buffer from the storms before they hit the more flimsy lands off to the west or whatever. I don't remember. She was looking at the origin again. We mentioned that again.
Yep.
Laurel is the City Lord's daughter. The City Lord, who's the guy who gave them all the fancy spheres so they could see good during surgery.
Right, surgery lights, yep.
All right, moving on. Another cool beginning of chapter quote. I'm going to keep reading all of
these. Oh, yeah, please. I don't even put them in the notes because I'm like, Sam will just read all of them and we'll discuss them and it's fine.
Might I be quite frank? Before you ask why I was so concerned, it is for the following reason.
And then we aren't
That was it.
Yeah,
I
was
like,
like,
okay,
come
that
on.
one didn't really give us much.
Come on, Brando.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
There was a part in this one where they talked about soul casting happens at night when no one is allowed to see it except for the soul casters, high-ranking Light Eyes, and the Ardentia.
Right.
And I was like, is soul casting sketchy?
Yeah.
But I don't think it is because we saw Yesna do it, right?
Right,
and it wasn't
seems
sketchy
fine.
then.
Yeah. It's just like too holy for their eyes or something.
Maybe
weird.
they have to sacrifice something. I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Maybe Yesna did it on the down low.
Yeah. Kaladin has figured out in this chapter about the gem hearts.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, that's what they're
Kaladin's finally being brought up to speed on the stuff we already learned.
Now
in the
that
last
he's
reading.
less focused on being gloomy and self-pity, he's like listening to things happening.
Yeah, we learned that they passed the ruins of a bridge that Parshendi had destroyed during the night, during a high storm. So apparently the Parshendi can go out during high storms, no sweat, and that's just fine.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
I wrote down that Kaladin and Adolin should start a club for hating Sadeas.
Yeah, they would be good at that. Yeah.
Team up, guys.
Also, it's mentioned that Parshendi probably are going for the gem hearts.
Yes, that's
weird.
my next note also.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah, Parshendi are working on breaking open the chrysalis.
I mean, I
words
guess
in
like
the chapter, so
we know we're not protecting them. Maybe they're just grabbing them because they're like, well, better that we have the hearts of our literal gods instead of our enemies. Maybe. But
I don't know. Were the Parshendi always cracking them open?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say.
We assumed that maybe they're trying to protect them, but it looks like that's not the case.
Yep. Syl has a fun. I like Syl so much. One of my favorite characters.
Yeah, Syl's getting better and better.
Yeah, she has just a fun quote that says, "People are discord."
Oh yeah.
I just thought that was funny. I was like, when I write this quote down, there are other things that she said that I'll remember, and I don't. So we'll move on.
Kaladin, when he took the front spot at the run from Rock,
yeah.
he said, "It is my privilege to run at the front as your bridge leader." And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I had a similar note. I said, okay, Kaladin, I get that you want to lead, but dying won't do you any good. So, similar thoughts there.
Now, wait a minute. There was a line. As he was running at the front of the bridge crew, a jolt of energy, a surge of sudden strength. He knew not from where it came.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing, at least that last bit.
That's got to be Stormlight, don't it?
I think it might be Stormlight.
Because his money is draining faster than it should be.
It turns out that all 4 of the monies he got had been infused just the previous day, and now all 4 are empty.
Right. And we learned that normally it takes a week.
And wait a minute. Was there, in the past, you're going to have to jog my memory on this one.
Okay, sure.
Was there some mechanic where, like, a certain character could drain the Stormlight from spheres?
There certainly was.
Oh, wait, what was that? What was that?
My boy Seth's son Villano.
Oh, that's right.
He
He could drain the spheres to do cool powers and get strong and fast.
Yeah.
And now, and Kaladin gets strong and fast.
It's a coincidence, probably. I wouldn't read into it.
Is going dark.
I wouldn't read into it.
I'll stop reading that voice immediately. All right.
And then
so I'm happy that you also caught on that.
Yeah, it seems like the hints aren't super subtle, but this is what's happening.
No, I mean, come on. Somebody has cool magic powers,
right.
And then you also have Kaladin, who seems like he's probably kind of the main character.
Right.
Surely he's going to get cool magic powers,
and, like, he's the only one in the front that doesn't die, and it's mentioned in a later chapter, Rock was like, arrows were landing all around you, dude. I don't know what's going on.
Exactly, and Zeth was literally able to make arrows dodge him,
right? By like lashing
him to nearby things.
Yeah.
And now they're all hitting the bridge, which he's touching with his hands.
Yeah. Probably a coincidence. So then they, sorry, I scrolled down too far here. So then they go into the battle or whatever, and it's like one of the worst ones he's been in. But again, only a few dudes die. He's doing solid concrete evidence that he's helping out or something.
He bought all that surgery stuff, or well, just bandages, and he tried to buy antiseptic, too expensive.
Yep. And he's grabbing all the wounded, and he gets his buds to grab the wounded, and he's helping people out.
Yeah, Rock and Taft help out, and they save 3 people who would have died without his quick medicine checks.
Because they would have just been left behind. Yep.
Yeah, they're told that they are not allowed to bring the wounded back at all. If they can't walk by themselves, leave them.
Right.
And they say, no, we're bringing the 3 wounded back.
Yep.
Also, there was a line. The Parshendi look at him and seemed confused.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Right, as he was rushing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just because he was screaming like a madman.
Yeah. Or, he yells 410 or whatever.
Or can they maybe see somehow that he has crazy, he's doing magic stuff?
Yeah.
Are they like... They're a different race, right? Maybe they can just see that. I don't know.
They've already got the weird relationship thing with the High Storm, so wouldn't be too far a stretch.
Who's to say?
Yeah. So my last note was Kaladin may be draining his money of Stormlight. Something is.
There was another quote in the middle of the chapter. They break the land itself. Oh, this was the guy who died while he was operating on him. We heard his death rattle like in the middle of the chapter.
I forgot about that.
They break the land itself. They want it, but in their rage they will destroy it. Like the jealous man burns his rich things rather than let them be taken by his enemies. They come.
Spooky.
I was like, man, that's not normally the type of thing I think just a random slave says when he dies.
Like a bridge bend, that's pretty profound. That's a little foreboding, yeah.
Pain spren are tiny orange spren stretching up from the ground like hands.
Yeah, God, that sounds so creepy. Ugh. Can you imagine,
it's
like...
kind of, have you seen Howl's Moving Castle?
Yeah.
And you have the guys dancing around slowly, and they're like shadow creatures and the little hands and stuff.
Yeah.
Made me think of that.
Yeah. Can you imagine you're just like walking around your house and you stub your toe on something and these orange hands are just gripping your toe?
You're like,
oh God,
jump back,
right, it just probably makes it worse. I don't know, maybe you're used to it.
And also, the Parshendi always leave their dead behind. They do not come back for their bodies.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Yeah.
That's pretty much that chapter.
Another quote at the start of the chapter. Ati was once a kind and generous man, and you saw what became of him. Race, on the other hand, was among the most loathsome, crafty, and dangerous individuals I had ever met.
Yeah, Race seems like a bad dude.
Race is maybe the big bad dude? I don't know.
Could be.
Or he's just a bad dude.
Because this is kind of some immortal letters back and forth.
I suspect that by the end of this part, we'll get the entire letter.
Right.
And when we do, I want to go back and
read them all together.
Thing.
Yeah, I thought about that too, yeah.
All right, let's do that next time.
Yeah.
And this is where Saddle was sabotaged, or maybe it wasn't.
Yep.
Adolin is taking a girl out on the worst date of all time. It's good. It's cool.
Kind of his thing.
We get that quote again from Dalinar. The Everstone comes, the true desolation, the night of sorrows.
Yep. Dalinar doesn't like doing all the politicking stuff and non-combat stuff, but he's okay at it.
He's like, I do what I must.
Right. What a cool dude.
Like the needs of the kingdom don't care about my talents and my opinions. Right? Yeah.
Just an important guy. He's got to do the things.
Yep.
He's there's a quote, I don't exactly remember because I didn't write it down, but he is jealous of Galavar because somebody else was mentioning being jealous of somebody, and he was like,
Oh, it was about Remorin.
yeah, Renarin.
He was both jealous. He was both kind of jealous and admirative.
Right.
He admired and was jealous of
Right.
Adolin.
What's there a word?
Ad-
I don't think admirative is a word.
No,
but I know
it's
what you mean.
definitely not a word.
Yeah.
I was totally making that up. But like, is there a better alternative?
I don't know. I don't know enough about linguistics to know what kind of.
I think
word
there
it
is, and it probably doesn't even have the word admire in it.
Right.
At all,
Yeah.
but it means the same thing.
Yeah. Well,
I can't think of it right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was saying that he felt that same way about Gavilar.
He definitely admired him.
Gavilar.
I always write it down as Galavar, I think, but I don't know which it is.
I want to say Gavilar.
All right. You keep saying things, I'll check the first chapter.
Okay.
I must know.
We learned there's considerable bandit activity. I don't know if that's a big deal. It's probably not. The Parshendi do have shards of their own.
It is Galavar.
Oh, okay. We learned that, let's see, whether or not you go to heaven or the Tranquiline Halls or whatever,
Right.
or how well you're favored in the afterlife is based on how well you follow your calling,
Right.
kind of, and like how much glory you accumulate via that.
Yeah.
Then there was a line that said, the better your blood is elitized, the more innate glory you have.
Ah.
So if you're of a very high rank, you don't really have to do that much.
Yeah.
You can kind of like just chug along.
Right. Kind of
with your
caste
calling.
system-y a
It's
little
like
bit.
maybe you do some blacksmithing, maybe you don't. No big deal. Right? You're still going up to heaven.
Hey, no harm done. Yeah.
But if you're like of the
lower blood,
fifth non or whatever,
right?
You have to like
you gotta grind.
You better be making 5 swords a day until you die.
Yeah.
And then
And you can't change your calling, which yikes.
No, you can. You can change your calling. People normally don't, because there was the one ardent who had changed his calling. He was a soldier, now he's an ardent. So they mentioned you can change your calling.
Right, but you gotta like go really hard because all the work you did in your previous calling, it's like, well,
yeah, now that no longer counts.
Yeah.
It's all about,
Right.
So they were saying like it's impressive he's made it this far, even though he wasn't doing this from the start.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I probably
It's like changing your major. It's like changing your major.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like you're like, oh, geez, do I want to invalidate the last 2 years, right?
Right.
The answer is sometimes yes.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta. Elokar said something about like the past is irrelevant, and I was like, oh.
Yes, I have that exact quote written down. The past is irrelevant. I only look to the future.
Yeah, I literally wrote the past is irrelevant. Okay, Elokar.
Yeah. Dalinar is like, I mean, have you been reading the histories? There's some really good stuff in there.
And Elokar is like, learning from my mistakes. I'd rather be paranoid, thanks.
Please.
Yeah.
That was fun.
All right. This time I did write something about.
Then there was a quote. Is battle honorable when our people starve? Is it honorable when we're all stabbing each other in the back? Right? These are the sort of questions Gavilar was asking before he died. And everyone was like, idiot. Like, what dumb questions. That's so lame.
I feel like Alethi culture, they're really like,
yeah, this guy knows what's up.
Alethi culture is just like ignoring all the bad things. They're like, we do what we do, and we get some glory, and then we die, and we go fight with some dudes, and it's lit.
The average wisdom score of an Alethi Light Eyes is like a 9.
Right, it's bad.
It's like a 9.
It's bad.
And then you have Gavilar coming in at like a 16, and Dalinar is at like a 13 or 14.
Right,
but he's putting his ability
every 4 levels.
Every 4 levels you get an ability score increase. He's putting his ability points into wisdom.
Yeah. Maybe he's draining some from strength as he gets older. It's not a perfect metaphor.
Yeah, well.
All right, 19?
19.
This is what I just read. So I did write about the pre-chapter because it was brutal.
He holds the most frightening and terrible of all the shards. Ponder on that for a time, you old reptile. And tell me if your insistence on non-intervention holds firm. Because I assure you, race will not be similarly inhibited.
Yeah. So he was like, hey, we got to do something. We can't just sit here, you reptile.
Yeah, he holds the most powerful of all the shards.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like all the shards are the same, but I guess the Herald's shards, we learned that those are all unique and strong, right? So is Race one of the Heralds?
Maybe.
We didn't get all their names, right?
Yeah.
We did learn in this reading that there were 5 male and 5 female.
Yep.
And in the very beginning, right at the prelude, we heard 3 male names, right? The King of Heralds, the narrator, and the guy who the guy who died and went back to the horrible hellscape.
Yep.
And I believe we heard all of those as he's and hims,
I think
right?
so, yeah.
So we're missing 2 male and 5 female
names of heralds.
Names. And the author of this letter and the recipient and even race and the other guy who was mentioned, none of them are gendered.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So race could be a woman, I think.
Who
No.
knows?
He holds the most frightening.
Okay.
Race is male.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know.
But still.
But race could be the he from the start. Remember we mentioned the big spooky, that was a he?
Right.
Could be race.
Could be race.
I don't know. Okay.
Yep. So this is the visions chapter.
Yeah.
Okay. So this was when I was reading now, so it was much more coherent. But I was like writing down my thoughts as they were proved wrong. I was like, he's living someone else's memory. Maybe fighting a Voidbringer? I was like, nope, not a Voidbringer.
Yeah.
Just Midnight Essence. Whatever that means.
These Midnight Essence, they're like these weird
water sacks of
They're
smoke.
like these sharp sacks of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can like bite, but their like skin's too soft. That was said like a million times.
Yeah.
Sound really freaky. Don't like
them. They bleed smoke. He normally uses wind stance, but in this he used smoke stance, which is for imperfect weapons because he was fighting them with a poker.
Right, yeah.
That was kind of fun.
They bled smoke.
Yeah.
How appropriate.
He yelled at his wife, which wasn't his real wife, it was his vision wife.
Yep.
He was like, "Woman, get the girl out of here." And
she
she's
was
like, "The girl, that's your daughter. It says, when have you called me woman?" And I was like, "Oh, Brandon, you're funny."
Yeah, I was like, this is what you're worried about right now? You're literally being attacked.
Yeah, it was just kind of fun.
Yeah, it was.
Apparently the Radiants, I think they're both Radiants. The people who fell from the sky.
Say that.
These 2 Radiants fell from the sky. They saved them. They helped them.
Right, they're like
down,
shooting stars.
Down
like
our fought
superhero
alongside
land.
them. Yeah, they like came crashing down from the sky. And we learned earlier that even jumping off like a kind of a low cliff is like really risky, right? But these Radiants are just falling from who knows how high, and they're fine apparently.
And their shard plate seemed a little cooler. Like, it is definitely shard plate, but it's more glowy, and he was like, geez, what's going on with the helmet? Why does it keep disappearing and appearing?
The helmet came and it went, and he was like, where'd that come from? Where'd that go?
Yeah.
And they were like, oh man, Dalinar, you're a good fighter. We like you. Come join the Radiants at...
Did you imagine all the Radiants with a southern accent?
Yep. Urathiru?
Oh,
Urathiru.
Sure.
Urathiru.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, U-Town.
He definitely pronounced it Urathiru.
Okay. Thank you,
Mr.
Michael
Kramer.
Yeah. Sure.
We learned also that, earlier we mentioned that this was a long time ago, 8th Epoch, 337.
Yep.
But at this point they were saying that I think they're in Natan.
Yep.
Which he was saying that kingdom has fallen centuries ago. That's now where the Shattered Plains are located.
Right. Yeah.
Also, that back then, that was still when they were calling Alethkar Alethala. So this is like the distant
way
past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. He was like, what year is it? And they're like, what?
Yeah, what do you mean? Like, what year is it?
What kingdom are we in? And the lady's like, can you heal him again, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the lady shard bearer, he was like, lady shard bearer. That's not right.
Yeah. Since when have women held shard blades?
Yeah, and she had like healing powers that were like super OP, and I was like, geez.
Yeah. Healing powers were OP.
Yeah.
He said that the voice in his vision sounds familiar.
Yep.
So,
who could that
is
be?
it someone he actually has met in his life? Is my question, or
it could be his wife, perhaps, maybe.
It's a male voice, I think.
Oh, it is? Oh, well.
At least Michael Kramer definitely makes it sound male.
Sure, okay.
I don't know. It could be someone he
actually knows.
Or maybe it's like everyone is... To everyone, the voice of the Almighty is familiar, or something like that. I don't know.
It's like in that movie. Did you see that movie, Contact, I think it's called, where the lady is trying to find out about aliens?
Is this with the circles?
Yeah, the circles.
No, I haven't seen it, but I've seen previews.
Okay, yeah. Basically, she goes to another planet, and she meets an alien, and the alien takes a form of, like, her father, and he's like, yeah, we always do that so you don't get freaked out by our true forms or whatever.
Well,
maybe it's like that.
If they were my father, but they weren't my father, I would get freaked out.
Well,
Could they be some human... So I'm not freaked out, but it's a human I don't know, so I'm also not freaked out. I think that would be the least freaky to me.
Wasn't a great movie.
If it just appeared if this alien appeared to me as just a guy who looks like a guy I would see on the street, and I'd be like, oh, hey, and he'd be like, howdy, and I'd be like, hey, how's it going?
Put her there.
How's it going, fellow unknown human?
Yeah.
And like, that would be very relaxing to me,
sure.
Right? But what if you have social anxiety? But then you're doomed. I
think
you just shouldn't be meeting aliens in that scenario. Okay.
Probably wouldn't be taking that up.
I think we pretty much... Oh, and then he says he's asking him questions, and it's not answering him really. This voice, right?
Yep.
It's just
giving
like
him
monologuing kind
right.
of. But then he's like, what's a specific question I should ask? Oh, I know. Should I trust Sadeas? And it definitively says yes. And then it goes on to say some other stuff that's kind of unrelated.
Right.
But hey, we got an answer out of the voice. Yeah, victory.
I called the voice the spooky god angel voice. So that's what I'm going with.
And then we get the chapter where Kaladin can't save the girl.
Hold on, quick. Right. Just the last thing he said: act with honor, and honor will aid you. And so that kind of goes with the following the codes things and everything. So he's like, I mean, seems like what I'm doing makes sense.
On the right track.
And I'm like, hey, keep with it, Dalinar. You know what's up.
I agree. Dalinar's still 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So yeah, man, traumatizing chapter 20.
Exctly. Kaladin tries to save a little girl and she dies. That's like literally my only note on that.
Yeah, he does everything right, and Lyran's like, he said, Lyran gives okay advice, but damn, rough stuff.
Yeah,
He's just like, hey, it'll happen. Yeah.
That was a toughie.
All right, 21, back to, oh man, every time we get to a current day Kaladin Bridge chapter, I'm like, this is the good stuff.
Exactly. This is actually anything where Dalinar is narrator as well.
Right.
Dalinar,
I mean, like,
and present day Kaladin, I'm like, yes. Yeah. Shallan, when she starts coming back in, and
right, I'm sure that'll be whatever.
Kaladin's past, whatever.
Even the Dalinar chapters, I'm like, okay, these are good, but we get it back to Kaladin, I'm like, tell me what's happening.
Although I am excited, because Kaladin's flashback chapters are moving forward in time.
Sure.
Right? Eventually there's going to be one where we finally learned what happened between him charging down that shard bearer, or getting charged down by that shard bearer back when he was in High Prince Amaram's army, and when he was a slave 8 months later. We're eventually going to get that window in between, I think.
Oh, yeah, surely.
And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Okay.
Quote. Pre-chapter, yeah.
One need only look at the aftermath of his brief visit to Cell to see proof of what I say.
Right, and that's race he's talking about.
I think.
Because if all the lines are connected.
I assume all the lines are just one after the other.
Yeah. No, I was literally reading that one. I was like,
Race went and destroyed a place called Cell, so keep an ear out for that city name or whatever it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So then at the beginning of the chapter, he wakes up and he's like, oh, everything hurts, but then he gets out of bed early because he's got to be a good example. Yeah. And Haber's like, hey, thanks for not leaving me to die. And I was like, oh, very touching.
Hey, you're pretty cool. And Rock is like, yeah, I'll give that one guy some of my food. And
right, after Gaz was like, they found out Sadeas is going to let you keep the injured people.
Kaladin's like, I have an idea to make money, but it involves us moving rocks. And Rock is like, well, okay, I'm your right-hand man now, I think.
Right.
And Teft is like, and I'm your left-hand man. Let's shake hands. Your name is dumb. And he's like, actually, my name's hard to pronounce.
Yeah, and let's give it a shot, shall we? I have it written down. We're going to do it. I want this so badly.
Michael Kramer say it, but I don't remember what he said.
Yeah, no, it's impossible. I have the page number.
It sounded like Hawaiian.
Yeah, it did. It sounded like the fish, the yeah.
Obviously.
All right.
Anyone who doesn't know the name of that fish is probably an idiot.
All right, here it is. Right here, go for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Numuhuku Makiaki Ayalunamor?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I would say it.
Mukuhuku Nakiaki Ayalunamor?
Oh no, you missed a bunch of syllables in there.
I tried! Yeah. I wasn't looking the second time.
Makiaki Ayalunamor.
Why we didn't miss that much?
Yeah, just like 2 or 3. And then Teft's like, well, yeah, Rock will do just fine.
Also, we learned that Rock can always see Syl, even when no one else can.
Yeah.
She can choose who she
reveals herself to.
Everything becomes a tongue twister when you're a little drunk. All right,
Yeah.
Syl can choose who she shows herself to.
Good point.
It's been kind of assumed up to this point that she's only showing herself to Kaladin.
Yeah.
Right? However, it turns out Rock can just see her like all the time because he has a line where he's like, "Oh yeah, that one," and then he says some weird word. Is always following you around, right?
Yeah.
And Kaladin's like, "What?" And Syl's like,
"What?"
Actually, I don't know if Syl's like, "What?" I don't recall.
She was like, huh.
Yeah.
I think she was just like, it's like the thing where she learns something, she's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but Rock seems to view Syl with some level of reverence, right? He like bows to her.
Yeah, he like sees her and makes the sign of the cross.
Yeah, exactly. he just said shoulder, forehead. He doesn't go down to the the navel.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, all right. By the way, Kaladin is pulling together actually some people who are like legitimate followers. Yeah. So that's very cool.
I had the note. I can't decide if Kaladin or Syl is my favorite character, but they're vying. Dalinar's in there too.
Dalinar.
But he's in. All
right, I'm gonna make a T-shirt.
He's in third.
Team Dalinar.
Okay, no,
and you can do Team Kaladin
Team
/
Silcal. I'll come up with a
Silcal.
ship name, even though that's not really a thing.
Silcal sounds like SoCal.
It does, yeah. I think that's why I thought of it.
All right.
Okay, I'll think of something.
In case you have turned a blind eye to that disaster, know that Iona and Sky are both dead, and that which they held has been splintered, presumably to prevent anyone from rising up to challenge Race.
Ooh, boy, Race is he's building
Iona
a
and
reputation.
Sky and Race, I think these are all names we've never heard before.
Yeah.
Maybe these aren't heralds. I wanted to assume they were heralds
Well,
at
the
first,
guys-
but now I'm like, well, geez, we heard like 4 herald names,
Right.
and these aren't any of those.
So the guys in the beginning, the boys with the swords in a circle that go to the horrible hellscape, are those the Radiants or the Heralds?
Those are the heralds.
Okay.
And their followers are the Radiants, who as I understand, are much more numerous.
Mm-hmm.
And then the heralds
That's
vanished.
what I thought. I just wanted to double check. Yeah.
The heralds vanished, right?
Right.
And then the Radiants betrayed humanity somehow.
Somehow, yeah.
But I don't think we know how.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway.
There was a line about spring was happening, and then it would be followed by a return to summer, probably. Hopefully, it wouldn't turn to winter instead.
Yeah.
And we had established in the past that the seasons were inconsistent, but I was
Right.
like, whoa, that inconsistent.
Right. Some Game of
Okay.
Thrones kind of stuff going
That's
on.
kind of nutty.
Yeah. I don't know what triggered this thought, but right at the beginning, I was much more on board with Sadeas's idea of why the king is paranoid. The whole, because Dalinar keeps increasing the guard and everything. I think it's because, he's like, well, we'll go tell the king that, maybe the strap was cut and see if there's anything else he wants us to look into. I'm like, you're really just confirming all his beliefs here. Yeah.
But then Sadeas is kind of playing Dalinar, it turns out, because he convinces Elhokar to make him the High Prince of Information. Dalinar had requested that he would become the High Prince of War. Elhokar said no, because you've been kind of a loser lately. You're not going for gem hearts. You just want to run away, tail between our legs. Don't even want to fulfill the Vengeance Pact.
There was even that one chapter where he was like, man, we could go... Dalinar could sound the thingy that we could go get the gem heart or whatever, but then the bell didn't ring, and he knew the bell wasn't going to ring.
Yeah.
And Dalinar was like, should I ring the bell? Nah.
No, doesn't want to.
Nope.
However, Elhokar did tell Dalinar that if he could prove to him that the High Princes might be willing to work together, he would consider making him the High Prince of War.
Oh, I didn't even get that.
Yeah, so how will he prove this? Who's to say? He had one line where he mentioned maybe we'll do a joint plateau assault.
Yep.
So,
and he was that goes
and he started talking about how he can't go for Sadeas right off because he's already been seen working with Sadeas too much. If it's Sadeas more, it may turn the other High Princes against them both.
Right.
However, if he starts targeting some of the weakest of the High Princes, he might be able to get them on board because they want his strength. They'll be they'll be psyched about the opportunity to split a gem heart 50-50 with this guy, right? Because they weren't going to get it anyways.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, maybe that's a viable plan.
Right. Figuring something out.
They go to some party being hosted by Elhokar. Wit is insulting everybody. His insults this time were pretty fun. I did kind of like those. But the one about an assassin was weak and lame. But then Navani commented on how it was weak and lame, and I was like, yes, Navani, thank you.
What I just imagined, because he was rattling off, and there was a section where I was like, he really doesn't need to continue, but I feel like Brando Sando had a lot in the tank, and he was like, I need to get these down.
Yeah, he's just having fun with it.
Yeah, but I imagined Wit with a really annoying voice, and it was more fun that way.
Oh, yeah. Most annoying voice, by far, the way
Michael
Kramer does it, is Gaz. Gaz is kill. I would rather die than listen to another word Gaz says.
What did he sound like?
He's just really nasal.
Oh, okay. I always imagine him
he's nasal, and you have to imagine he's angry eyebrows all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's Kaladin walks over and he's like, make me the bridge leader. And Gaz is like, you want to be the bridge leader, huh? Well, we'll see what,
Sure, okay.
And it's like, oh my God, stop,
Because Gaz's voice is, a very distinct one that I have, but it's just kind of grizzly and much lower than that. But it's still just just kind of ticked.
The way Michael Kramer does it, it's straight up like fingernails on a chalkboard. I can't stand it. But it kind of makes sense for the character.
Right, because
honestly, it personifies Gaz quite well.
Right, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, all right. There are different colors of wine, and they have different strengths.
Yeah.
Right? He said like what,
The
a cup
violet?
of blue and then only orange or whatever. I don't remember the colors exactly. I'm kind of
Right.
spitballing.
Because
But...
otherwise you get drunk, and when you're under my roof, you'll live by the codes, boys.
So I guess one of the colors of wine is like really weak. I don't know.
Yeah, and the violet was like the strongest or something. I don't remember.
And that's where we learned about Dalinar having the hots for his sister.
Yep.
Oh, yikes. But it's okay. It's like an anime where it's like it's not really his sister. They're not related by blood.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But he was talking about his wife, and he was like, I don't remember anything, but I can still honor her by not, like banging my brother's sister or wife or whatever.
It was so strange how he couldn't remember a single detail of his wife's face, but he could recall perfectly every sharp contour in Navani's beautiful face. Like there were lines like that. I was like, come on. Okay, whatever.
Also, there was an interesting thing about his wife that he said, it was just like in the middle of a sentence, wiped by his own foolishness from his mind.
Oh, I missed that.
So I was like, was this something he did that caused him to forget everything?
The thing is, I feel like with his wife, this is not just some repressed memory thing, right? This feels supernatural somehow. But like, what have we learned about in the world that's really supernatural besides these...
The lashing.
Like these heraldic powers.
Yeah. Nothing.
Right? So I don't know. Right. I don't know what this would be.
It's that one guy from Heroes who...
Unless maybe there's like a spren, maybe some... But the spren don't really...
They don't...
interact with people per se.
Yeah, they don't cause action.
Like it seems like if you were blind... You would probably just never know the spren existed, and it wouldn't even change your life at all. Except for like the wind spren, it said they could stick things to things. They could like move objects, right?
They could prank you, yeah.
But like other than that, I don't know if we've heard about any other spren actually affecting the world in any way.
The spren, they're not proactive whatsoever. They only just appear when their like thing happens.
We also learned that the Vadens, which is one of the other countries, right, has apparently perfected half shards.
Yeah.
Shields that can block shard blades.
Right, I was like, oh boy.
And at that point, I am out of notes.
You stopped way sooner than I thought. I was about to jump in, and you stopped, and I was like, okay.
You gave me a cool fade out.
Right.
Thank you, Joe.
That was good. Yeah, I have a couple other things.
Right.
The half shards, and then Dalinar was like, well, that's a problem, because that's close to shard plate. We've never been able to make that, so things are only going to get worse.
Hey, can you imagine if another country could start just producing shard plate?
Yeah, that would be so bad.
Oy.
But yeah, he just had like a bunch of random notes. Dalinar has been to the Pure Lake where Ishik was.
Oh, I missed that.
He just mentioned that. He was like, oh yeah, back in the days when I went somewhere, and also the Pure Lake, and I was like, interesting. And then they were talking about the safe hands, which is, an established thing at this point.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what if a woman is left-handed? That just sucks.
It does.
Right, they just gotta
be free.
Learn to be ambidextrous or whatever.
They even mentioned, like, you could wear a glove. That technically covers the safe hand, but it's a little scandalous, right? It's like wearing a bikini in public or something.
right, but using it, that would just be like, terrible.
Disgusting.
Horrible, yeah. Joe, my mom is left-handed, right?
Oh, really?
And when she was in second grade, she broke her left wrist. She's broken her wrist a bunch of times, but this was the first time. And so she just was in like elementary school when you're learning to write and stuff. So she just learned to write with her right hand, and now she's just pretty ambidextrous writing wise. And like she does some things with her right hand, some with her left, and she's broken both wrists many times since then. Don't know why.
Sure.
Big fan of wrist breaking. Anyway.
Wrist breaking's fun.
Yeah, they mentioned Adeline's whole life is dueling and courting. I'm like, geez, dude, come on.
Yeah, those are like...
Take up knitting or something.
Like anything else.
Some sort of masculine hobby that's, not one of those two things.
I mean, the fact that his calling is dueling, I'm like...
Right, yeah, how is that? What's your... Where do you see yourself in 10 years, Adeline? What's going on, bud? And he, it's a bummer because he sees, what's happening to Dalinar, and he's like, man, he's getting old, he's having these visions, and I want to trust him so bad, but I feel like he's getting to that, in those, early college years when you feel like you're like, I know so much more than adults. I'm an informed citizen now or whatever. Yeah. And he's, going through that phase. I'm like, all right, he'll get over that. Yeah, and things will be better.
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson is pretty good at writing the various phases of, human life.
Right, development, yeah.
I feel like when he's writing Kaladin as a teenager, I'm like, yeah.
Been there.
Like yeah. And when he's writing Adolin as kind of a, Adolin's actually our age.
Yeah, right. I'm like...
He feels a little bit younger than me.
Right. No, he feels like, kind of like
and then he's writing Kaladin, and I'm like, no, can't relate to that.
Yep.
That's totally foreign.
Right, yeah. No life experience that mirrors that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's fun. Good book. All right, what's our next section deal?
Oh, let me pull it up. But first, there are some new characters we have to rate.
Oh, sure.
Rock. keeps calling Kaladin an airsick lowlander.
Right, yeah.
Was a little bit reluctant to join the Kaladin squad, but sure did crack before everyone else.
Right. I'm giving him, like, I don't know, probably a 7. I want to go higher because I just like anybody that's, like, making Kaladin's plans work out. And I think his number's going to keep going up. But I'll put him in a 7 now.
I'm comfortable with a 7. We don't know much about him yet, except that he can see Syl, has a long name, and is on the Kaladin squad.
Right. And
Teft,
now we're getting...
Teft similarly.
Teft is like a 6. He's not as cool, but he's on board.
Agreed.
Above average.
He joined after Rock. How can he be as cool?
Right.
Navani.
Oh, Navani seems pretty cool. She's like, I don't know, maybe 7.
I like it when Navani was like, my son's a pretty bad king.
Right.
And Delnor was like, whoa, you can't just say that. And she's like, but it is true.
Right.
Though.
She's like, well, I'm not saying that, but
true,
he is a bad
isn't
king.
it?
Right.
Yeah.
She was like my oblivious, spacey little son or whatever.
And we established she invents like fabrials. She has a very useful calling, unlike dueling. Have your scores for any other characters changed recently? They go up or down?
Oh, what was Kaladin the last time we talked? That was like right at the
8.
beginning. Oh, he's up there. He's like 9, 10.
As he keeps overcoming adversity, he just gets higher and higher. Yeah.
I just like Kala and Syl.
I'll bump Kaladin and
Syl's
Syl
way
both up to like a 9. I don't know. They're every time it's a Kaladin chapter, like present day Kaladin, I'm like yes. Like
I think Kaladin.
Those are my favorites. Cause like the others, they're like way like bogged down in the politics and everything. But then you get back to Kaladin, and it's just like, oh boy, time for some good old overcoming adversity.
Right. Yeah, I like Dalinar's a 10 because he's got his stuff all put together, but his chapters are just a little less interesting than the Kaladin chapters.
Sure.
It's a whole thing. But yeah, Syl's way up there. Yeah.
All right, for this next reading, we are doing chapter 23 through the end of part 2. So,
which is what chapter?
Hot Dog 28.
Okay.
And that is going to be another 37,400 words. So just a little bit shorter than this last time.
And this time I will for sure read it before the night before because I'll be on a plane.
I believe in you.
And I will only sleep some of the time.
Hot Dog. Well, thanks for listening.
Yeah, we got to do a thing.
Guys, let's do a fun bit.
Okay.
Hey, you airsick lowlander. Now you call me an insult.
You dumb rock.
No,
You're dumb as a rock.
That hurts.
Hey.
I'm wounded.
Get over it.
My side has been split by an arrow is how this one feels.
Oh, geez, let me...
Whoa, that was another reference to the reading.
Let's
okay.
patch it. All right, bye.
Let's just see ya.